Hello, Lamer Gamers. This is Simply Travis and
Rowdy 5000
for the Lamer Gamers podcast, and this is the greatest and lamest games of the year in podcast for 2019. While playing or trying to play these amazing and not so amazing games, we've begun to train students under the House of Lamer and send them out in the name of Gamer to battle zombies, freakers, the evil corporations of Halcyon.
Hey, you said it right.
Yeah, I said it right this time. I keep saying Halcyon. Those who create corruption on Mount Morda. Some weird, ugly space monsters that seem to randomly get attached to Velcro walls, and worst of all,
A goose.
a goose. While carrying a bridge baby for reasons. Now that we've gotten this episode loaded up in our podcasting canon, let's set off that transition music. Before we hop into the greatest and lamest games of the year for 2019, if you like the stuff we do here on the show, make sure to check us out on our new fancy website, www.lamergamers.com. Now, I will have to say, you do have to put the www in there. I'm trying to figure it out how you can just type it in and go.
That's a thing?
That is a thing. People actually have to type that in now.
Oh.
Or, well, they used to. Remember way back in the day when 56K modems were a thing?
Yeah, you just had to type in whatever.com or .co.uk or .ca or .jp.co.
Or just go to the Googles and look for Lamer Gamers Podcast. Also at Lamer Gamers Cast on Twitter, at Lamer Gamers Podcast on Instagram, and throw a review down for us on Apple Podcasts or Podchasers. So, what we're going to do today, we're going to start out with the best games of the year. Then we'll have a little transition. We'll do the lamest games of the year. And we're going to go from number 5, our personal number 5, all the way up to number 1. Then we had a couple of fellow Lamer gamers that chimed in and let us know what they thought their lamest game of the year and their greatest game of the year was. And we'll read through those. So right off the bat, we're going to start with Mr. 5000 with his greatest number 5.
All right, man. Number 5 of the year. I know you've already got this one on yours, too. But I think it might be a little higher than mine.
A little bit. Un poquito.
Number 5 for me is going to be the Outer Worlds.
So why was it your number 5 this year?
No, it was number 5 for me because I absolutely love Fallout.
Mm-hmm.
And I was absolutely disappointed with Fallout.
76.
Yeah, my bad. 76.
Yeah, Fallout 76 was what's your review of Fallout 76? It's usually a one-word thing.
It's a mushy dog turd.
Yeah, ooh, mushy now.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, no, it's like your dog ate like some peppers or something, and then like just right outside the driver's seat of your car. You don't realize it till you step in and you've turned the heat on.
I asked for this, didn't I?
You did.
I did. I totally prompted this. I apologize.
That was Fallout 76. So, I mean, I'm not trying to say that it influenced me to like the Outer Worlds more. Had Fallout 76 not been a mushy dog turd, like I still would have enjoyed the Outer Worlds so much. I loved Fallout New Vegas. And when I found out that Obsidian, one of your favorite companies, was making another Fallout-esque first-person open-world RPG, I was super excited. One thing that I actually really liked about it was the size of the game. Now, I know it's not that big, and a lot of people complained about that, but it had enough side stories that it kept me going for a while, and yet I didn't get way off track and glitch myself out somewhere like I always do in a Fallout game.
Did you run into any fun glitches?
Actually, no.
Yeah, I was really surprised.
I mean, I'm sure there are like small glitches here and there in the game, but I never found anything big, game breaking, anything. I never even really found anything small besides like somebody like walking into a wall or something like that.
Yeah, it was surprisingly well done. Of course, when you're dealing with a game that's much smaller in scale than Fallout,
it's a lot easier to handle. Oh, man. I don't know, man. It was really good. It'd been a while since I played a first-person RPG like that. it definitely felt like New Vegas. Because one
Oh,
thing
yeah.
about New Vegas, it was more about the RPG elements than the action elements, like some of the other Fallout games. I thoroughly enjoyed it, man. That's definitely my number 5.
All right, so I'm going to go with my number 5, which is kind of a surprising one for me. And the more I looked at this list today, and I'm going to tick some people off with this. I'm a huge Nintendo fan. You know this.
Oh, yeah.
This is my first year with a non-Nintendo system. Well, I mean, I still have a Nintendo Switch.
Well, yeah.
But the Switch had a weak year.
Did we play the same Switch?
We did.
Well, okay, yeah. Now that I'm looking at some of my lamest ones, yeah, okay.
Think about the games that were supposed to be the big blockbusters this year. Like Astral Chain was supposed to be larger than it was, Daemon X Machina, and they were all... They were good.
They were okay.
But they weren't like Nintendo quality.
Yeah.
So
I can see that.
a lot of mine ended up... I have 2 games on my list that are indies, which I wasn't expecting. First one is the meme of the year for gaming, pretty much. Untitled Goose Game. and I know Rowdy was a huge fan of Untitled Goose Game, but and you can also listen to his Rowdy's Ruckus Rantings. His first one was on Untitled Goose Game.
Oh, yeah, man.
And I ended up buying it. Man, it is a blast. It's a game that you can hand to anybody. It's one of those few games that I think can get to nearly any age group. I actually had my niece play it the other day. She's like 6 or 7. And she was just honking about everywhere in the house.
I had my parents play it.
Really? How'd they do?
Oh, they loved it. I mean, they didn't get around all that easy, but it was basically me and my brother yelling, "Hey, go here, honk at that, pick that up."
Oh, yeah.
My dad got a Switch for Christmas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we set him up with all this kind of stuff. But yeah, they played Goose Game. They loved it.
So if I just see your dad randomly honk, we know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. He's been playing Untitled Goose Game. But if you haven't played it, which you should, it's fairly cheap. And if you have Game Pass, it's now on Game Pass, which is pretty awesome.
Very true.
You go around and you're basically a goose that ticks people off, and you have a list of things to do to tick people off. The most devious thing you can do that I've done so far is steal a little kid's glasses, give it to a shopkeeper, like hide it on the shelf, and the kid has to buy them back.
Dude, that was so mean. That's the only thing. That's the only thing I felt bad about in that game. That's it, man. Making the kid buy back his airplane.
Yeah. Oh, was it airplane?
Yeah, it was airplane.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting mixed up. I stole his glasses. I made him change glasses. I made him wear some old lady glasses. That's what happened. So, and then I locked speaking of the old lady that ran the store, I locked her in the shed.
That's actually, was that one of the main missions, or was that like a side mission?
I think that was the add-on towards the end. But if you did it earlier and you got her locked in, there was a lot easier to do stuff at the store. So, all right. So, Untitled Goose Game, I'm sure you've heard about it. It's everywhere. It's good stuff. So let's go ahead and go to number 4.
Man,
Rowdy.
all right, man. My number 4, you know what? I'm calling an audible. I'm switching my 3 and 4.
Oh, snap. Audible!
My 4 for the year is Death Stranding.
Wait. Is this one going to go up on the list, or does it disappear?
No,
Don't tell me what it is. But...
My number 4 is moving up.
Oh, moving on.
So my number 4 is now my number 3, and my number 3 is now my number 4.
Okay.
So now my new number 4 is Death Stranding.
Okay, new number 4 is Death Stranding, also known as
UPS FedEx Simulator 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Look, man, I know it sounds crazy, but I got super hyped for this game, and that's coming from somebody who wasn't a big fan of Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, I'm not that big of a fan of Metal Gear either.
I mean, Hideo Kojima, I didn't play the game because I was a big Hideo Kojima fan. Mm-hmm. But when people started hyping this game up, I started looking into it more and more. And I saw how different it was going to be. I didn't think it was going to be like a new genre of video games, but I was excited to try something new. And I'm also not into multiplayer games, and anytime I hear like social aspects about video games, it doesn't do it for me. But
I don't like people that much. That's the problem.
Well, exactly.
When I get off work, like I have so many literal hundreds of interactions during my job that I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to go and
Dude, I feel the same way because at my work, I talk to a lot of sick people.
Oh, yeah, man.
So I really don't want to talk to anybody when I get off work. So the social aspects of this game actually help you out. Like this game, it definitely has a lot of. I mean, I don't know how to put it. But basically, Hideo Kojima is trying to make people realize how toxic the internet is, and tries to bring people back together. I mean, the whole point of the game was bringing the United States back together. Everybody was just super divided. So in this game, the more you do helps out other people. I think I talked about it on the last podcast or the one before it.
It was one of our recent ones.
But I was helping build a highway so that I could transport goods quicker and by truck. So as I was dropping supplies off at the place where you make the highways, I got to a point where I needed more metal, I think it was. So I was all frustrated and everything. It's like, I got to go back and I got to get more. So I went back and I got more metal. And then when I came back, it was built because somebody else dropped off the supplies that I needed. So then I just took the supplies that I gathered, went to the next area of the highway and dropped those off. And somebody had already dropped off enough gear that I was able to build the next one right then and there. So playing this game online actually helps people out. And to me, that was the coolest part of the game. Hey, sorry about that break. It was a dog break. We had to shuffle some dogs around.
Yeah.
So like I was saying, the social aspect of the game was really awesome. It looked absolutely amazing. I played it on PS4 Pro. You can only play it on PS4 now. But I played it on Pro.
It's coming to PC, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It looked absolutely amazing. I played it in performance mode, so it bumped it up. I mean, obviously not. I mean, 4K, what is it? The PS4 Pro doesn't do full 4K, but it looks absolutely amazing. I've actually seen a lot of video, too, of it playing on the original PS4 hardware. Still looks great. Performs great. I mean, it was a different game. It's not anything new. It didn't create a new genre or anything, but I absolutely loved it. I probably put 60, 70 hours into it, and that's always a good thing if you can put that much into a game.
And, I like the idea, not a lot of games, I think, deal with contemporary issues. Like you said, the whole, bringing America back together and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I do like the fact that they're actually trying to go after that kind of thing. And most of the time, it's social issues in a vacuum, in a game.
Yeah, I mean, they could have gone, crazy social with it, but they didn't. It was basically why the world is divided because of the Death Stranding.
No, right. It's not too in your face either.
But then, at the same time, there's also people who don't get along with you, who you show up and you try to put them on the map to get them to join what's called the chiral network in the game. And some people they're just not about it. They don't trust you, and then you could do stuff to gain their trust. But it's not like you show up and everybody's cool with you all of a sudden. But yeah, definitely number 4. Switched it around.
All right.
What about you, homie?
The next one, it's a 5, but it's a 4. I actually, not so much for the main campaign by myself, but I'm really enjoying Gears of War 5? What?
Yeah, that's kind of strange because
that's a strange one for me.
Like we talked about earlier, man, this is your first time playing on a non-Nintendo system in a long time, man.
And well, here's the problem. I still don't like Gears 1 through 4.
Yeah.
There's something about where I'm running, and then I get stuck to a wall. I hate that in a game. I want to have more control. In this game, it still kind of has that Velcro-y feel to it.
But not as bad.
No, you don't hear the ripping, I guess.
Did you go back and try and play the Gears 1, what is it, remaster or Ultimate Edition or whatever?
No, I'm not even bothering. I cannot, the controls on those.
Okay, so it's a little better.
Oh, okay.
But, when Gears 1 came out years ago, I was just so upset. It felt like Paintball Simulator. I wasn't a fan of it.
Yeah,
that's why when Gears 5 came around and I heard you liked it, I was like, what?
It's actually pretty good. I have been playing co-op though.
Yeah,
that's probably the main reason why it's my number 4 is because I'm having such a fun time with co-op. So there are, outside of the main story, which the story is decent. I'm not gonna say it's it's the best story ever. No, it's still very much like these beefcake monster people with hands the size of a freaking watermelon running around.
side story. I saw a video recently that was the top toilets in video games of 2019. I know it sounds ridiculous.
Why didn't we do this?
Gears 5 was on there because they talked about how massive the stalls were because everybody's all these beefcakes. Like the stalls are like 10 feet tall. They're like 6 feet wide, but the toilet's normal sized.
Oh.
But it looked great. That's why
Well,
it ended up on one of their top toilets of the year.
You got to have
in
leg
gaming.
room. I mean, there's nothing worse than going into a bathroom when the stall's too close in. And your leg touches the side.
Especially when everybody in the game is like 8 feet tall
Yeah, I know.
and has like legs that are the size of an above ground swimming pool.
Oh yeah, even the people. I know I mentioned this in another episode. Even the people that are like, the doctors in the game, they still look like they work out and bench 400 pounds.
Oh well, Baird, he was actually a character in one of the old games that you played as.
Oh, I know. I know he was.
So he is an ex-soldier.
And he reminds me of Goldberg for
Yeah.
whatever reason. I don't know what it is. I kind of expect him to like tackle somebody in the game. But anyway, so Gears 5, the reason why I'm putting it is because the co-op is really friendly. And I guess this is a theme so far, my last game too. It's friendly to non-gamers. You can be Jack.
Yes.
Jack is the little cool robot that makes all the fun noises as you're playing. And you don't have to actually know how to run a first-person shooter. And I have friends that we play with that I've been playing, and they like me to mention them, Gunslingerer and Mom. They actually, she gets simulation sickness. Do you know what that is?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I've gotten it a couple times playing Gears 5, though. But whenever you're playing that game as the robot and you have the split screens going, it's not bad.
No.
So now I will tell you, it is a fantastic looking game in HDR. The Dolby Atmos soundscaping in the game
Oh yeah.
is ridiculous. Things shaking my house so good.
I don't play mini games with I don't have surround sound, but I will play games with like isolation headphones on. I have like the what is it, the simulated surround.
You ought to look
or whatever.
into there's a Dolby Atmos app on the Xbox, and I think you got to pay for the headphone version of the app.
Okay.
Now, like with surround sound at your home theater, it's included. But I think I think it's probably on sale now for $7, but I think it's $15. But it's
Not
the
bad.
Dolby Atmos headphone things. I tried it. It's pretty darn good. Even like with non-fancy pants headphones. Yes.
Well, like when you were talking about the multiplayer aspect of it. I was playing with some buddies of mine, Casey, who's gonna help us film some stuff in 2019.
Yeah. Our video lamer gamer.
And our other buddy, who refers to himself as Tony Hustle, we played it a lot, and we were always fighting over who was going to play Jack.
Oh yeah, because it's the easy one.
Well, I mean, it was
But he has
fun,
cool
man.
powers,
It
man.
was-
He
it
can
was
electrocute
different playing as
people.
him.
He can do all sorts of cool things. He can heal people. He can go grab random stuff and float.
It was awesome, man. I loved it. Oh,
and you
also the
don't have
fact
Velcro walls with them.
that when you're playing on multiplayer, I don't know if you knew this, but you could change the difficulty between players.
Oh, I did not know this.
Yeah, so like somebody could play on beginner while
Mm-hmm.
somebody else is playing on like I'll eat your eyes out mode.
Yes.
I forget what it's called, but I don't think I'm very far from
I
it.
like that mode. There should be an Untitled Goose Game difficulty called that, because Goose will do that.
It's like the Doom and Goose Game team up.
Yeah. Untitled Doom Game.
Yes.
Yes. All right, so Gears 5 is definitely there for me. All right, so let's go to number 3.
All right, my number 3.
Audible 3.
So, the company that did this, Sony Bend, I think is what it's called. They're out of Bend, Oregon.
Okay. Like Bend Video, I think that's like one of the things you see on there.
Maybe. I know they're a Sony exclusive studio.
Okay.
And I'm kicking myself in the butt right now because I don't remember anything else that they've done. But this game, Days Gone, it was a brand new title. It was a brand new IP, and it was an open world. I mean, they're zombies. They call them freakers in the game.
I'm noticing a lot of zombies in your list.
I like zombies, man.
Yeah, I like zombies, man.
But Days Gone was cool. It was great narrative. The actors in it were great. It was a long game. I mean, I was surprised they fit so much into it. Everybody thought it was going to be a little ridiculous because, like, you played as a biker and he still had the biker code, even though, you know, the world was coming to an end. But that really played a lot into the narrative.
What's the biker code?
You don't know?
I don't know.
Then you don't need to know.
Oh, if you don't know the biker code, then you're not a biker.
But no, so like that's your main way of getting around is your motorcycle.
Oh yeah.
So
you
like
drive it up a tree. I've seen.
Oh God, don't get me started about that. There was after the update, I didn't have anything bad like that happen again. But my motorcycle did get stuck in a tree, and it turns out you cannot climb trees in this game. So I had to restart the game.
Yeah.
Not like delete my save, start over, but no, the gunplay in it's great. The story's great. The crafting system, the performances in the game, the acting. Oh my God, it was so good all together, man. Just everything. Oh, I mean, there's even a bunch of in-game stuff you could do. When you would have to take on a freaker nest, like you would have to prepare. So like you could set up traps and you could do it real stealth-like, or you could go in with lots of guns blazing and stuff. It was just really cool the way you could play the game in so many different ways.
I've seen some video of people taking out nests, and that they do swarms of zombies really well.
Oh yeah. And then I played
like fluid and scary.
I played it on PS4 Pro, so you could actually see them coming quicker.
Oh.
Whereas like on the regular PS4, they wouldn't like.
How many? There's a lot of zombies. That CPU must be really like.
Oh, it's kicking.
Man, can you like hear it like a jet engine, like the PS3?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
But it was awesome. Like so many on the screen. Like one of the biggest swarms is in a sawmill, and it took me quite a while to try and take those out because I tried to do it stealth-like, and it wasn't easy, man. And then like the main swarm is in the biggest building at this sawmill. So I tried setting up traps on the outside, tripwire bombs and all this stuff. And still it wasn't enough. I had to like, I guess kind of tempt them out of the sawmill and take them out like 20 at a time. I know it sounds like a lot.
Come here, zombie, zombie, zombie.
I mean,
come on, here's a human treat.
I mean, it was hundreds at a time in some of these nests.
I'm surprised the dog didn't run out whenever I did that, by the way.
it was a really fun game. I could see why it didn't do as well. Mm-hmm. I wish it would have done better so that we can get a sequel. Hopefully we will get a sequel.
I mean, it's a PS4 exclusive, right?
Yeah, but it's a new IP. I mean, it was so good. I mean, I don't know how they could do a sequel, but I mean, give us new characters maybe.
Yeah, they can all
in the universe.
If there is money to be made, they can make a sequel.
Yeah, it was good, man.
And it will probably, if they're trying to get this whole concept of mass amounts of character AI going on, like they do in that game, the new CPU that's going to be on the PS5, that'd probably be a good candidate to start with.
I've actually seen footage recently of them loading Spider-Man.
Oh,
well. This was footage here a while back, but I've just recently seen it. Talking how long Spider-Man takes to load on a PS4 Pro compared to a PS5. It was pretty awesome. It was real quick.
Well, yeah, I mean, so they're using solid disk drive. Too.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, it was a cell phone video that somebody wasn't supposed to be recording.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't really tell the quality if it was upgraded.
Or if it's real.
Well.
Could be fake news, Ratty.
I mean,
fake news. It looked real. It was real to me.
It was crappy cell phone footage, so I don't see why anybody would want to.
That is true.
Like, make it crappier.
Yeah.
All right, Travis. What's your 3?
Oh, number 3. This is, it's almost like an audible. This game I literally bought a couple days ago, and it's already way up at number 3 for me.
Yeah, I've barely heard you talk about this game.
Yeah, I keep sending Rowdy texts. Children of Morta. Where did this game come from? It came from Poland.
Okay.
And I was like
The Witcher?
Yeah, I guess so. Witcher was almost up there for me too, man. Because
the Switcher came out this year.
The Switcher came out this year, so I was going to kind of like include it. And The Witcher is good. It is better than I anticipated because I hated the way Witcher 2 controlled. But I'm digressing because we're talking about Children of Morta. So it is a combination of things I hate. It's a roguelike with generated like levels, like randomly generated levels, and pixel graphics. All these things I am absolutely freaking tired of. But these people from Poland have a wonderful story that unfolds as you're progressing through. It doesn't feel like the game is just trying to be cheap. You can actually get through the levels. You get a sense of progression as you go through. You're essentially, it's like Supernatural but wholesome. It's like Diablo but wholesome, or Gauntlet, the way it plays. Okay? So it's this weird combination of things, and you're this family, you're the Bergsons, and it's narrated, and this amazing voiced person is narrating the whole story, and it's wonderful and loving, and there are monsters in the corruption. And they unfold everything in a great way, and you're going through these dungeons in a Diablo style, and you have 6 different family members to choose from. They all play differently. Like you have you have kind of like your paladin style where you have a shield, you have arrow, you have your range, kind of the stuff you would normally expect from a good action RPG.
Okay.
The characters, as they develop, they give buffs to the entire family. And then you can buy buffs at your uncle. Go down to your uncle's armory and get, buffs for the whole family. Or your grandma is unlocking runes from all these things you find in the dungeons. As you're playing through the dungeons, you can find runes. So every playthrough is a little bit different, and your powers get affected differently every playthrough. There's so much going on with it, and it just comes together in such a beautifully designed package. And the pixel art, oh my gosh, the pixel art. I hate pixel art lately because it's gotten so generic, but they do it. I mean, they overlay, all these fancy like lighting graphics on top of it. But it's so well done that I'm like enamored by it. I've played it for a ridiculous amount of hours. It takes about 18 hours to beat. But the way I like to play action RPGs, I kind of over level my characters. And I've just been having fun playing levels over and over because they're different each time. You don't know who you're going to fight, what monster's going to be there, if there's going to be that weird magical dirt bird that you find its golden egg and you have to chase it through all these demons.
Dirt bird?
I don't know. I don't remember what it's called, but it looks like a giant dirt bird.
Oh my God.
It's golden.
Dirt bird. Like, I want to name a band that.
Hi guys, we're the Magical Dirt Birds, and we're here to rock your faces off. Gonna throw eggs at you of music. I don't know.
I think the next song I make for Lamer Gamers is gonna be called Dirt Bird.
We should. That's an amazing name. But anyway, I haven't beaten it, but I just know it's this like really magical thing, and it's on sale on Xbox, so I grabbed it on that instead of the Switch. Now it's on everything pretty much.
Okay.
And it's only co-op right now, like couch co-op 2-player. They are going to be updating it with online co-op, and they're going to be updating it throughout the year. So there's new levels, there's going to be new characters. It's great. It's really just a stupidly good indie game that, as somebody, if y'all have listened to our podcast, like I've kind of stepped away from Diablo 3. And I've needed my fix, and this has been the first game to do it. So, because I've been trying not to play their weird Blizzard stuff after all that mess. So, anyway.
I've been thinking about doing a ruckus rants about roguelikes and procedurally generated, because it just seems like those are the only kind of indie games coming out right now.
Exactly.
I'm glad
it drives
to see
me crazy.
I'm glad to see that you like this one, because, I mean, there's a lot that are just all misses.
Oh, recently. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It's the presentation and the way it's wrapped up. But, the gameplay is tight.
Yeah.
I could say it's just the presentation, but you always feel like something is going on that is improving you. Whereas a lot of Rogue games, like I remember Rogue Legacy or even Dead Cells and stuff like that, I just always felt like I started over at ground zero or back at the beginning, and there wasn't much of a story to tie it together.
Yeah.
And this one is really just a truly beautifully rendered story. So writing is good. Now you'll notice occasionally like there's subtitles when the guy's reading. I think some things get lost in translation because Poland to English, but it's never bad. Like it's not like, Bergson make food, eat dinner kind of bad. It's just minor translations that they didn't catch and fix. So anyway, that's going to be my number 3 for the year. So we're up to number 2, which happens to be
Numero dos.
Ronnie.
I almost said numero
Numero-
deuce. That's 2 different languages.
I mean, numero deuce is going to be on the lamest, right?
Oh man, but my number 2 for the year is the Resident Evil 2 remake. Now, whenever Resident Evil 2 came out, I did not have a PlayStation.
Tank controls.
So I didn't get to play it. But they were able to take the 2-disc Resident Evil 2 and put it all on one Nintendo 64 cartridge. And that's the one I played. It was amazing. I'd never seen anything like it in my life. The tank controls, I was able to control it.
Is this one tanky though?
No.
Okay, then I could probably play it.
So when I found out they were making the Resident Evil 2 remake, I was so excited because that's actually what got me into Resident Evil. I played that game. I can't tell you how many times because there's actually, I guess you could call it 4 different campaigns back then. Like it was pretty crazy because you had to play as 2 different characters. And when you beat one campaign, then you did the other character. Same way this time around. So you pick one character at the beginning, and then you play as them all the way through. Then when you play as a second character, stuff that you did in the first one, you'll come across what they did. So it's pretty awesome the way that works. But the detail that they put into this is absolutely amazing. You would see little things from the original one in this one, but it's now just a bigger 3D world. It controls better. It's like a third person over the shoulder.
Okay.
I guess they started that with Resident Evil 4, but this also runs on the RE engine that they started in Resident Evil 7. It sounds weird because we're going from Resident Evil 7 to Resident Evil 2.
But it's Capcom, and they don't know how to count.
Well, I mean, this is also a remake.
But it's Capcom, and
but
I don't expect any other numbers to make sense in Street Fighter. I still have flashbacks. So,
but no, Resident Evil 2 just it controlled so well. It looked so great. It was still super suspenseful like the old one. I still got scared every time I turned around the corner. There was still like that confinement. There's times when I didn't have enough ammo. The sound design in it was really good. Mr. X, the tyrant guy that walks around with his fedora and trench coat, if he is above you, you could actually hear it above you. Like, because it's multi-story.
That'd be a cool game with Atmos, because that's a big part of the Atmos stuff is the height visualization.
Oh yeah,
or sound visual. I don't know. I'm speaking some like synesthesia junk right now.
Yeah, I was playing with isolation headphones on, and you could hear like wherever he is, because he doesn't stop moving the whole time. Like you can't kill him. Well, you can't kill him when you're in the first part of the game. And he constantly seeks you out, and you can, if you listen real well, you can hear where he's coming from. Like, so there was one time I was on the first floor and I could hear him above me, but I think he was like 2 floors up because it was kind of faint. And then there was a time where I was in a room where the stairs went to the 2nd floor, and I could hear him really loud above me. I was like, okay, so he's near me. I need to watch out. So then I went into a room, and I wasn't really paying attention. I could hear him walking around. But when I walked out of the room, had I paid attention, I would have known he was near there, because he came running at me as soon as I walked out of the room, and I almost peed myself. Dude, the sound design is great. It's one of the best looking games ever. I mean, if you liked the original Resident Evil 2, you will absolutely love this. I know you talked about getting into the Resident Evil series. I was thinking about making you play Resident Evil 7 first, but I think the RE2 remake might be where to start you out.
We definitely need to get some like streaming days together and just kind of play them. Or not necessarily stream. We could record them and put them on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I can, be scared.
We'll see how all that works tomorrow. Casey's going to help us out with some of that tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll see how that works.
Yeah, we're gonna be recording some Ring Fit Adventure, or in my case, Ring Fat Adventure.
That's terrible. It's gonna be my first time to play it.
Yeah, so Rowdy and I we're gonna get fit with rings.
So let's keep it moving along, man.
Right.
What's your number 2?
Number 2 is number 3. Well, I mean, it's Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I'm not gonna talk a whole lot about it. It was a good game. I really couldn't give it anything else. I do have some minor issues with it. Just, it felt like things dragged on. But, I mean, honestly, what other game can you get a big character and go punch a horse in the face?
That is true, man.
That is the reason why it's number 2 for me, is because I can punch horses in the face.
You know what's funny is after you were... Oh, my God, what was that character's name?
I forgot his name, Sam, or...
Dang.
I don't know. I talked about it a couple episodes ago, but it was hilarious.
All I know, like, you text me about how this guy could, like, punch horses.
I love the brawlers. They were ridiculous.
Dude, I did everything I could to try and recruit him into my team because I played as the 2 houses you didn't.
Yeah, I was the yellow one, Golden Deer? It's been
Golden
a while.
Deer, yeah.
Yeah, I always said the wrong names for these things.
So I tried to recruit him, but he is one of the hardest characters to well, at least the way that I was building my teams.
Yeah.
He was the hardest character to recruit. So I never got around to it, but it was awesome, man.
There's a reason why I'm not talking about it that much. Because we're now to the number 1 game of the year for Rowdy 5000 and Simply Travis, and number 1 for Rowdy is
Fuego Emblema Tres Casas.
Yes.
Fire Emblem
That
Three
game.
Houses is my number 1.
Why is it your number 1?
Dude, I could not stop playing this game. And it's funny because it's not very open world.
No, not at all.
It's mainly a tactical RPG, which is not one of my favorite types of games.
Yeah, I can't remember you playing many tactical RPGs actually.
And it's funny because I'll go a few Fire Emblems, like just not playing them.
Yeah.
Like I played Fire Emblem Awakening, I think, was the last one I played before this.
Mm-hmm.
I think there were 2 in between there. I was just like, meh.
Yeah.
Meh.
I like the ones on 3DS.
Yeah, Awakening was the one I played on 3DS.
But my old ham hock man hands didn't agree with the 3DS. So I never really got through them because starting to get the arthritis.
The arthritis.
The arthritis in my hands.
But dude, I put oh god, how many hours? I want to say it was like 120 hours because I had to do some weird math because of the way that my save files worked. I had multiple ones.
Yeah, you played through it twice, right?
If you want to get technical, like 2.5 times.
Because there's something that happens after the big reveal.
One of the houses splits.
Yeah.
And there's like 2 storylines that you could do with them. So I saved right before the split, and then I did both of those campaigns.
Yeah, and if you haven't played the game yet, the story is really good. If you like lots of little mini stories along the way, and you like waifus, I guess, you'll love this game.
Okay.
I got a little burnt out.
I have to talk about one thing that really bugged me about this game.
Okay, let's hear it.
So it is my number 1. I
Yeah,
mean, there was
doesn't mean there
tons
aren't
of stories, tons of great stories. I loved how it played. I couldn't stop playing it, man. My wife probably got so sick and tired of hearing everything on there.
I want to eat things. Sorry, that's my
dude,
horse puncher.
Out of like the 120 hours I played it, my wife probably sat through 30 of it.
Oh, poor soul.
But one of the storylines, I ended up in a battle where the game almost feels like it's Renaissance era type, like, you know, dragons.
Yeah, it's definitely in that kind of like
there's no
high
technology.
Renaissance era. Yeah.
There's no technology.
Yeah.
One of the levels I played in looked like a crashed spaceship.
Oh, yeah, towards the later places.
It was weird because it never explained it to me. Why?
Because the ancients were always far more advanced than us.
Well, dude, to get through this level, like, I would have to, like, unlock stuff electronically. And there was dubstep music playing.
Yeah, that fight, those couple fights right there were like messing with my head because there's like big robot monsters.
What was that all about?
It's, I don't know,
It
Fire
never
Emblem,
explained
man.
it. I've
It's-
never
I
seen
don't know what's going
futuristic stuff
on.
in Fire Emblem.
There might have been. Have you finished the Fire Emblem game?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it was just weird, man. Just like I had like 2 battles that were weird futuristic stuff, and then right back to old school Fire Emblem. The dubstep music was bad.
Oh, it was. It was so generic and just. I mean, dubstep's not generally that good anyway.
But man, 120 hours. I couldn't put the game down. I want to play it right now.
I got really. Now that you're saying it, kind of. I just got bogged down by the stories. I like reading all those stories, and the voice acting was pretty bad.
Yeah,
a
it
lot of
normally
the
is
characters.
with this kind of game.
Yeah. So I mean, I still enjoyed the heck out of it. That's why it was my number 2 because the actual battling was spot on.
Oh yeah.
So, all right, my number 1, which you all can probably guess if you've listened to any episode of this podcast for the last 3 or 4, 500 episodes.
I wonder what it could
know.
be.
The Outer Worlds.
I didn't see that coming.
Oh no! Really? Wow. Okay. Hey, it's a good game. All right, I'm done. No, I'm joking. Okay, so it is a beautiful, just stupidly colorful game in a sci-fi Fallout. The story is great, and I'm playing through my second time, and I'm playing the first game. You know, I was how I play my normal characters. I'm like, I'm a good guy. I always try to make good decisions. I'm highly perceptive or smart, you know, and it was fun. I could like actually go into a fight. You know, everything from the story to the way you fight was completely different. You know, like I would approach situations and try to be helpful. I was trying to be kind of anti-corporations because they were being jerks. I would go into a fight and I could map out where everybody is and knock them out within like a couple seconds. Not this playthrough. Playthrough number 2, I'm a corporate bad guy with a hammer. And I go through, I solve things by telling people to screw off. I hate you. I'm following what the board tells me to do. I'm turning in the dude that broke me out of the ship.
Oh no.
Yeah, oh man, you can do that too, which is really cool because it completely changes the story, and you go to some places way before you would normally do in your regular playthrough. And when I go into battle, I don't look at anything. I
Just
see
run
bad
in.
guy hit with hammer,
Yeah.
and I am scary. I've like taken all my tactical time
dilation.
Yeah, that thing. You know, you dilate your eyes and stuff. I don't know. But I just run through there like a berserker and just knock everybody out. After I kill somebody, it raises my time, slows down time even longer, and it's just absolutely insane how good the melee combat is. You know, completely different from like being hands off. I can go up and there's these giant monsters called Manta Queens.
Yeah.
I can hit it in the face with a hammer like 3 or 4 times and it's done. Now, fun fact. You can be dumb in this game. And I know Rowdy was talking about it. He's doing his, murder hobo playthrough right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to play super dumb and see if you can murder every single person in the game, or most of the people in the game, and see if you could still beat it. Like, on this playthrough, like I just started annihilating everybody outside of, the Veil? Is that what it's called? So then, like, I get in there, and I can't buy anything. Everybody's scared of me. The only companion I can get is Parvati.
Wow, she follows you?
Vicar Max tried to attack me.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't recruit him.
It seemed like he'd be all about that.
Yeah, no, I had to put him down.
The Vicar had to put him down. The Vicar is rough, man.
I'm going to have to restart it, though, because I don't have good hacking, so I can't get into the vending machines, and nobody will sell me anything because they're all dead.
So this is the thing. I like actual tabletop RPGs where your decisions affect your ability to play the game, and it can end you permanently. I don't always like that in games, but the way they do this in this sort of choose your own adventure book-esque adventure is really well done, to the point to where you can actually completely kill your entire group by accident. I've done that.
Yarp.
Oh man, I did that with the dumb choice. I'm not going to give it away, but I'll let you know that I know all the best numbers.
Nice.
I know all the best numbers, and it happened to kill everybody.
Would you say it got a little hot and steamy?
It got a little hot. Not so much steamy, more melty, bad-y.
That's funny.
All right, so I mean, I've talked plenty about this game, so I'm not going to go too far into it. Check out some of our. I've got a side quest about the Outer Worlds that you can listen to, where I actually compare some of the art styles, which I totally geek out about. Because it's got an cool Art Nouveau sort of style in it. So yeah,
My name is Travis, and I like art
I
stuff.
love art. Yeah. All right, guys. So that is our greatest games of the year. But this year, for 2020, we are starting Lamer Gamers 2.0, which is building a community. So I've reached out to our little bitty, Lamer Gamers community on Facebook, on Discord, on the subreddit. Hey, you can go find those things, by the way, now. And these are some things that people have said. So how do you want to do this? I guess we should have talked about this before the episode.
No,
do you want to flip flop?
Yeah, we'll just flip flop through them. I also
Alright.
gotta add Casey in here. He sent me his like right before we started.
Okay.
The
So I'll
podcast.
read these first two. So if you have been watching our YouTube, you found that Drufus, who's one of our, we're starting to gather some honorary Lamer gamers at this point. Anybody that's in our community is a Lamer gamer, honestly. But he's begrudgingly dragging me through Dark Souls right now, so you can check that out and watch me die a lot.
It was funny.
Yeah, but his favorite of the year is Devil May Cry 5. It has an amazing OST. I always forget what OST means.
Original soundtrack.
Original soundtrack. Music guy knows this. He says, you gotta love the person who goes, we want Suicide Silence and Combi Christ to do the music for us.
Dude, the music in this game is absolutely awesome. It's a combination of like metal and industrial, and it really fits the game, man. I thoroughly enjoyed this game as well, man. And the soundtrack, it really does get you into it.
Rowdy's told me I need to play it. It's on Game Pass. And I just haven't
Just-
played it.
Devil May Cry games are absolutely amazing, and the only one you don't play is DMC.
Right, because that one doesn't count.
Side note,
Side
the
note.
original Devil May Cry was created because Capcom abandoned a Resident Evil 4 build,
Mm-hmm.
and instead of completely getting rid of it, it turned into Devil May Cry.
Fun fact.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, next up, John the Nerd, who's head of ParallaxMedia.1, which helps get our podcast out there, says one of his favorites this year has been Apex Legends. An unlikely one.
Have you played Apex Legends?
I have not.
Look, so I've played, I try and play a lot of the Battle Royales just so I can see what's going on. Like obviously I played Fortnite.
Yeah.
What was it? I played Realm Royale, the one where you turn into a chicken.
Mm-hmm.
But Apex Legends is surprisingly good. Like I said, I'm not really into multiplayer games and social aspects, but when it comes to a good first-person shooter, this game's good. It's made by Respawn, which is
Yeah,
an
I heard
EA
it's good.
game.
It just didn't take off, I think was the...
Well, I mean, it didn't take off as much as Fortnite.
I think you can get it for $5.
Apex Legends?
Yeah.
It's free.
Oh, it's free?
Yeah,
one of
it's
those,
free to play.
One of those games is like $5 in the store.
It was made by the people who did Titanfall, so it's got a good pedigree.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking of, and it's just like got a special suits and stuff. Yeah. All right, you want to take the next one?
Yeah, man. Is that Miku Live?
Miku.
All right, it's from the Game Witness chat. The Witcher 3 for the Switch. It's old, but I never played it on Switch before.
Yeah.
Dude, I just recently got into The Witcher 3. Like, I read the first 2 books. Well, I'm almost at the end of the second book. And the Netflix series, it's 8 episodes. They're all about an hour long. Let's just say I didn't get off the couch for a day. Me and my
That
wife,
was your job for the day.
me and my
watching
wife
The Witcher.
watched all of The Witcher.
So
And I agree with Miku Live here. Like, Witcher 3, like, I had to get into it again. Like, I tried to here a while back, but there were so many games. And, like, right now, the only other game I'm playing is Pokemon. So I'm trying to do Witcher 3. Miku, this is a great choice.
So I'm playing Witcher 3 on the Game Pass, and I feel like I'm being too nice.
Okay, so I'm trying to play it like I think
He would play.
he would play.
Yeah.
Geralt because, like, when you read the books, like, I don't want to spoil anything.
That's okay. We can talk about this another time.
It's a white knight in black armor.
All right, that works. Okay. Next one is the Jorsh, one of our friends from the Indie Incursion podcast, also from Parallax Media. Favorite is for sure Disco Elysium. Now, this is a game I need to try personally.
Dude, I've seen some videos on it. It's pretty in-depth and cool how everything works, man. Tabletop style RPG.
Yeah, that sounds like it's right up my alley. The story really captures you and makes you feel like you're a detective trying to solve not only the case of a murder, but discovering yourself as a character. The play on waking up as someone who doesn't remember anything about their life gives you what many RPGs try to create, a real opportunity to roleplay as who you want to be. Are you the apologetic cop or the rock star cop? The addition of making the attributes all feel relevant by having each one play a narrative role as a separate inner monologues was such a twisted way to think about characteristics, but it really felt fitting for the predicament your character is in. Plus, the fact that you can die by literally nodding your head too much is just one of the wacky outcomes you can run into that fills the story with additional charm and wit. All right. Tag.
I'm it. Okay. All right, next is Super Faker Bros from Game Witness. That's Game Witness, right?
Yeah. Okay, GW is the other name. Game Witness Discord.
Man, I agree with this one. Well, favorite has to be Fire Emblem Three Houses so far. Might very well be my favorite Fire Emblem game ever. I'm with you, Super Faker Bros. For sure.
I'm going to let you do the next one, too.
All right. Sora Invoked 01. This is Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. The story depth, raids, basically everything was done really well. Final Fantasy XIV, I've never played it. But that's the MMO, I think.
Ah, okay.
And I think that's the one that started off bad, and then they redid everything, and it has just everybody that was big Final Fantasy fans absolutely loves it, man. And I've heard so much about it this year. Right before Shadowbringers came out, like everybody was freaking out, man.
I'm not a big MMO person, but if people that actually play RPGs like it, maybe it's worth getting. Because, to me in my head, like an RPG that's a single player experience is so different from an MMO. Yeah, I tried to play that Elder Scrolls MMO stuff, and I was just like, eh.
Yeah, I couldn't get into it.
Yeah. All right. Fried Shoes. As for best, it's awesome. Super subjective, huh?
That name.
Oh man, Fried Shoes is entertaining. As for best, it's super subjective with me, but the numbers don't lie. I put a lot of time and thought into my playthrough of Travis Strikes Again. simplyTravis Strikes Again? Nah. Flawed, but I had an incredibly emotional experience with it. It's weird, hard to explain. I think it's entirely to do with the writing and my knowledge of Suda's history. Disregarding that, I think the message I was left with was still impactful enough. Music is really great too. It just stuck with me for a game that released in January. That's something.
Have you played this one?
I have not.
It's pretty awesome, man.
It looks good. It could be why he was so upset with me whenever I said Nintendo had a weak year earlier on the Discord.
It's a top down, kind of a beat 'em up kind of thing. You can upgrade your character. If you play two players, you actually play as one of the dudes from the first two games. I can't remember. He's got this weird mask. Can't remember his name. It was pretty fun, man. Me and Casey sat down and played it. You know what? Speaking of, I'm going to insert Casey in right here. His will be real quick. A lot of his favorites. Let's see here. He said he really enjoyed Link's Awakening and Gears 5 this year, but probably his game of the year was Control. I didn't really play it.
I haven't played it yet. It's on my list though. Because I'm playing their other one, the Quantum Break.
Oh yeah,
that's some good stuff.
He was telling me how much I need to play Quantum Break, and then once I'm done with Quantum Break, play Control. Like I watched him build this amazing computer. It's funny because it's like a little compact computer, but it's so compact because he used like solid state drives, he used a mini RTX 2080, but the ray tracing on everything on this one looks awesome. Like he was showing me some video capture he did of Control, and it's awesome, man. The game looks great. I mean, I don't know how many hours he's put into it, but it seems like every time I would get to work, hey, man, you played Control yet?
Hey. The ray tracing looks good. Man, ray tracing going to be all up in next gen.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and the last one on our list is Good Twin. And it's kind of a combo because it's also got Evil Twin. At Game Witness, we have a group of twins. They're not really twins, I don't think.
That's funny.
But we have good and evil.
Does one have a goatee?
That's a good question. I don't know what they look like. I've gamed with these guys for a long time.
Evil Twin would have it.
Probably. We'll have to find this one out. I'm going to give my 2019 Game of the Year to Wolfenstein Youngblood. Evil Twin and I played through the game together, and it was a blast to play. Enemies could be damage sponges at times, but this played into the RPG elements the developer injected into this shooter. It was another great port by Panic Button. Man, Panic Button, they must play this on the Switch. Panic Button can do some crazy stuff.
It's funny. Were they the ones that ported over Wolfenstein 2?
Yeah, Doom, all that stuff on the Switch that, like, does some ungodly things with your system.
I mean, it's surprising how well they run. I mean, they don't look the greatest, but they run well.
Yeah, they're usually kind of soft, but I mean, visual parity is there with some of the big boys.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The fact that this was a budget release, the value we got per hour of entertainment was excellent. All right, guys, so that is our greatest games of the year. We are going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back with the lamest games of the year for 2019. All right, guys, before we dive into a big steamy pile of the lamest games of the year for 2019, don't forget that you can tell your friends to check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, www.lamergamers.com, or wherever you cast your pods.
We has website.
Yeah, it's fancy. By the way, good app, Podcast Addict, if you're on the Androids. All right, so we are going to be talking about the games that were lame. They're not necessarily bad games, mind you.
Just we didn't like them.
Some games, yeah, there's something about it that just might have ticked us off or made us want to punch something. So, we're going to go ahead and start with number 5 lamest game. Oh, well, by the way, lame can also mean disappointing.
Yeah, some of mine are mainly disappointments. Yeah.
We're not mad at you, games.
Just disappointed.
We're disappointed in you. And this is coming from both of the lamer gamers. And we hope you do better next time.
Oh man.
All right. Number 5, Mr. Rowdy 5000.
Man, my number 5 is Astral Chain.
What?
Look, man, I love Platinum Games. A lot of stuff they put out is absolutely amazing.
And you were really excited with it at first. I remember you came over and showed me it on the Switch.
We did like a big episode about it, talked a lot about it, and how much I liked it and all this stuff. But it was so repetitive.
Yeah, and
the music was repetitive. The missions were repetitive. It was really hard to find some things.
How many demons did you find in dumpsters?
A lot.
Yeah, I mean that was like the big go-to. It's like, we're gonna put a demon in a dumpster.
And the colors kind of annoyed me.
Oh, that kind of like neon, but not quite, like lasery kind of color.
Well, there was a whole lot of blue and a whole lot of red because they were trying to, I guess, just trying to show the exact opposites of like one was good, one was evil.
Gotcha.
But there was so much of each.
Yeah.
Like when you went into the demon world or whatever, like everything was red and black and digital looking and glitchy. And it gets annoying after a while. You spend a lot of time in there, but it was a good game, just disappointingly repetitive.
Yeah, I could see that. From what I've seen, this is one of those games I just didn't pick up because the reviews were coming out, and I was just like, oh, man. Nope. All right, so I guess I'll go ahead and do number 5.
Yup.
Yoshi's Crafted World.
More like Yoshi's Crafted World.
Yoshi's Naptime World. And, the worst, the gameplay is decent. It's not made for, it's not made for gamers. It's not even made for lamers. It's made for like a 3-year-old that's gnawing on their controller. And the worst part about the game is they play the same song over and over, and they just change it each time, just a little bit different, and it's the same song, though. It's the same exact beats, the same exact rhythm. They just change the instruments, and it's the most boring song in the world. So, I had some issues with it.
It looks great.
Yeah, it looks great. But I had some problems with this game. So, anyway, okay, so here's another thing that drove me crazy because I really, everybody's like, oh, look at all these graphical effects. I'm so angry I can't speak. These graphical effects that they put on this game for a Nintendo Switch game. That's amazing. That game could barely put out 540p. They were putting so much junk on there. I don't care if they can put fancy graphical effects on there. If the game is playing something that sometimes hits below what I would see on a CRT TV, I don't want to play it. It looks like it's out of focus. And that's something, if you're gaming on a TV that's over 11 inches, you're going to notice.
Yeah, I can see that.
And whenever you're bored out of your mind and you're wanting to look at pretty things to kind of keep you entertained, because they keep playing the same Sukastong over and over, it's annoying. All right, Rowdy, I'm gonna step back a second.
All right, time for another audible.
Oh, an audible?
Yeah,
because we had the same number 4.
Yeah, my number 4 is pretty much the same as yours. So I'm gonna move one around.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna call my number 4 Daemon X Machina.
Oh, snap!
Look, man, I was super excited about Daemon X Machina. I love mech games.
Mm-hmm.
I love anime, mech, all that stuff. And I was super excited to play this game. You could switch out your weapons. You would have to change out weapons for different missions because of different things that would happen in there. Like sometimes you weren't going in there to annihilate everything. Sometimes it was a scout mission or something like that. But back to a game that's super repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
You did the same thing over and over again, and you would have to. I got to a point where I had to grind a lot because I was trying to just. I got to a point where I just wanted to beat the game. I just wanted to see the conclusion to the story, but I played it so fast that I couldn't progress any farther unless I grinded to get my levels up.
And you're probably bored during that.
Yeah, it wasn't for me, man.
And I played both the demos, so I didn't play the full game. And the first demo was okay. Had some issues. I love the art style with the game. Now, don't get me wrong, I really like it. It does feel a little bit like, though, when you're playing that somebody's got you on a string and they're just slowly dragging you across.
Yes.
That would be the best way I could describe that.
So it's crazy because there were times that I would be flying around
Mm-hmm.
and I would accidentally hit a different button and it would turn off my jetpacks, and then I would be like falling but not really noticing it because
it's so slow.
of how everything moved.
Yeah.
It was weird. But I also played with light mechs, so maybe that's why.
Now, one thing I did like was the gyro controls they added in. I love my gyro controls.
Dummy.
It was really good. They actually, it made it a lot easier.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't too obtrusive. So,
What's your number 4, homie?
Oh, man. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. My list is just going to tick off so many people. I'm just warning you. Yoshi's Crafted World was an easy one, but everything else on maybe the next game not. Most of the stuff on my list is not going to make people happy. But Bloodstained Ritual of the Night felt janky.
So we talked about this before it started.
Yeah.
I got super excited for this game because of the prequel they did. Like,
prequel looked good, man.
This Kickstarter made so much money that they ended up making a short prequel, like 8-bit style game that actually some of the story carried over into this one. And that game was really fun. It was short. It was like 4 levels. It looked like a Castlevania game.
Yeah.
You could play as multiple characters who were actually in Bloodstained Ritual of the Night.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man. What are your big issues with it?
Okay, so I played Bloodstained Ritual of the Night on Game Pass. Thankfully, I didn't have to pay for this. I didn't do the Kickstarter.
I paid full price, and I played it on Switch.
You.
The Switch was so.
Wasn't it the worst version?
It was the worst version, man. Like, there was one point where, like, in Castlevania games where you have to, like, there are some levels where or some parts where you have to jump into the next part of the level, so you jump up. Well, when I would jump up, it would take a while to load, and then I wouldn't make it to the next platform, so I would fall back down, and then it would take a while to load again, just so that I can hit below it and do it all over again.
All right, so first thing that annoyed me was the story.
Okay.
The story was not good. It was just kind of typical tropes you would expect. Does it get better? Okay, something bad happened over there.
I hit the desk and my mic was rattling around.
Oh, okay.
But we had the stabilizers on.
That stabilizer. See, I didn't hear it. Hopefully. All right. So I didn't like the story. It was kind of it just kind of wasn't introduced well to me. I didn't play the prequel though, so maybe I should have like done my homework. I guess I don't know.
So yeah, it does kind of carry over from the prequel. I thought it was fairly decent, but I think you do have to play the prequel to get some of the stuff that's going on, like something. So the dude with the sword in the red cape, I forget his name.
Mm-hmm.
Something happens in the prequel that makes him act like a butthead to you. In this game.
Good to know. Don't care. All right, I'm not going to finish playing it because the next thing that bothered me was the controls and the way you attack things. The weapons didn't feel right. The animations were kind of squirrely. I didn't like the flow of the actual gameplay, and that's really what got me. And I didn't have fun with it.
There was a lot of backtracking in it.
Yes,
dude. But boring. That's a Metroidvania
that's a
game
Metroidvania,
for you. But at the same time, like, I had to backtrack so much. I put 25, 30 hours into this game before I got to a point where it was just so hard that I wasn't willing to keep playing it.
Yeah. So my biggest problem, though, is I had so many people that were, like, building this game up, talking about how great it was, and it's by this, one of those people. Who was it made by? Castlevania dude.
Kenji Iofune?
Yeah.
I think he was the creator of Castlevania. If I'm not mistaken.
So, it's kind of like the same thing happened with Mega Man, though.
Yeah, when they did Mighty No. 9 and it was just awful.
Yeah, that's how I see this game. It was just like they tried to like kind of steal some of the essence of the other game a little too much,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't feel original enough, and they didn't refine the gameplay enough to make it work out. So it wasn't. I'm sure there are people that enjoy it. I'm sure there are also people like me that get frustrated whenever the last bad guy is an entire just hitbox and they accidentally kill you with their
everything
upper parts
stuff.
Yeah. So, all right. Next up, we're gonna be at number 3.
Yeah, number 3 for me. I forgot. I called an audible. So
yeah, it's the same thing.
No.
Oh.
My number 3. I'm moving my number 2 to number 3 now.
Oh
so
man.
My number 3
I'm getting
is
confused.
Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 3: The Black Order. I was so excited for this game.
Yeah.
But it is one of the most grindy games I have ever played. If you haven't noticed, I don't like having to grind.
No, you know why? Because we don't have time for that.
It's boring.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up like it's cool because if you get special buffs if you play with certain team combinations. So, like, if you play with people who were just X-Men or Avengers or all-female characters or vampire-esque characters, like all this, you got buffs. And I never, like, later into the game, I never could get any of the buffs because I would, when you're playing the storyline and a new character comes in, you get that character at a buffed level. So I would automatically throw that character in because they were already at a higher level. And then, so I got to the end of the game with a team that didn't make any sense, but I couldn't make any teams because everything was so grindy. So then to unlock other characters and other costumes, you had a separate mode that was even more grindy because they take some of the missions that you have to do and then they put special stipulations on it that are super hard.
So this is where I think because I'm playing a game that I really like, but number 3 this year, Children of Morta, which is a little grindy. You have to go through, but there are differences in the levels each time. You feel like there's progression, but it's also wrapped around this really nice presentation and a coherent story.
Yeah.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance, does it have a coherent story?
Oh, the story's awful.
I mean, it's just kind of like they took wasn't there a South Park episode where they had like these manatees and they were just like picking up these balls with story ideas?
It's when they were making fun of Family Guy.
Yeah, and I can't stand Family Guy. I know a lot of people like that show, but it drives me freaking bonkers. Anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, that's my number 3.
I still want to play it, honestly. I haven't played it yet. But it did look a little on the boring side. I'm waiting until it gets to, like, dumpster dive prices.
I mean, it's fun. It's just if you want to play as teams that make sense, you really have to grind. And that's not fun.
Gotcha. All right, we are
Your number 3.
Oh, we're at my number 3.
Yeah.
Do we switch things around? I'm getting confused. Okay. Mario Kart Tour.
Ugh.
Just bad move, Nintendo. Why you do this to us?
I mean, like I said earlier, I understand making a free game and then trying to monetize it, but just the way that it was monetized
and here's the thing. It's not even that I'm disappointed with you, Nintendo.
You're not?
No. You made a stupid decision, Nintendo. Now, there's a difference. I'm not saying you're stupid. Don't get me wrong. Did not say you're stupid. But your decision, because you knew better, was stupid. Can you hear the disciplinarian in me coming out?
It controlled awful. And then, like, my biggest gripe is, like, so you had to pay $5 a month to play the 200cc mode.
Ugh.
But at the same time, Apple Arcade came out.
Mm-hmm.
And Apple Arcade's decent. I mean, I actually play some of those games on my Apple TV with a PlayStation or Xbox
and
controller.
And he mixes it in with his Apple Kool-Aid, and it's delicious.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And I would much rather do that than pay $5 a month for 200cc mode.
Yeah, that just... I don't even want to talk about it. I'm so angry at it. All right, number 2.
All right, number 2. So here's the last of my audibles. So I want to point out, my number 2 is not a bad game at all. I actually loved it. It was just very disappointing.
What is your it's a surprise to me now.
It is a surprise to you.
Yeah.
Dragon Quest XI.
What?
Look, I enjoyed the heck out of this game. I played it on and off for months. I even did a Rowdy's Ruckus rant about it and how much I liked it. And the story was great. The characters were great. The art style was great. I mean, just, it didn't feel grindy. It didn't feel like I was doing the same thing over and over again. I beat the game. And I was like, man, this is awesome. So now it's time for the in-game stuff. And I know that a lot of Japanese RPGs, when it comes to the in-game stuff, you always have to be super high level, kind of like with Octopath Traveler.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't disappointed in Octopath Traveler when I got to the in-game stuff because the story had already, it was already concluded.
Yeah.
So, the in-game stuff in Dragon Quest XI,
Mm-hmm. X1.
it continues the story. And I was super invested in this story, only to get to a point in the game where my character has to be 20 levels higher.
It's like you're playing an old school RPG.
Travis, my characters were like level 50, 52, 53. They were high. High levels.
Where are they now?
I had to be like level 70.
But let me ask you, do you have time to get another 20 levels?
No!
What games could you knock out in those 20 levels? How long do you think that would take you?
Dude, I could knock out Luigi's Mansion a couple times in that time frame.
Wow. And you had to play that a couple times, don't you, pretty much?
Oh my God. So I started looking up online, like, how I could, like, quickly level. Even trying to quickly level is slow.
What you do is you go on eBay, and there's probably some people from Russia you can buy levels from.
I'm just gonna...
Not on the Switch, though. It's only be PC.
Dude, I got so mad
Do that with Diablo.
that I didn't even look up the conclusion of the story on YouTube.
Ooh.
I don't even want to know it now. I'm so mad.
Oh,
Disappointed.
Oh,
Disappointed in you, Dragon Quest.
Dragon Quest. And, here's the thing. Just reinforcing the fact that these aren't necessarily bad games.
I put 75 hours into this game.
It's just a lame part of the game. It's the ending, and it's just lame.
Well, it's not even the fact that, like I said, I understand that there's a lot of in-game stuff that you have to have super high levels. That's just how JRPGs are.
Yeah.
But it was the fact that it was continuing the story, and then it was literally like I ran into a wall. I was in a mirror maze, and I bloodied my nose.
But if you run into the mirrors, then you'll know which ones have blood on them, and you'd eventually get through it.
That is true.
Now, you might bleed out in the process.
I was just fixing to say that. I know a little bit about bleeding out and how to stop all that.
Yeah.
I would have died.
You would've died.
in real life, IRL, as
I
the
mean,
kids
Rowdy
say.
does work in an emergency room, so All right. So, yep. I guess I need to go to my number 2 at this point, which is also an RPG.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You seem very disappointed there.
I'm so disappointed. And it was annoying to me is the problem. It's just kind of like a mosquito buzzing in your ear kind of situation for this game. Tales of Vesperia for the Switch.
I thought about picking this one up, but I have no idea where it falls on a timeline or anything. But I figured it was just every time there's a new Tales game, it's a new story, new characters, nothing continues.
Okay, so here's the thing. One of my favorite RPGs of all time is
I
Tales
wish
of
y'all could see
Symphonia.
his face right now.
It's hard. So it's one of my favorites. And sometimes I'm okay with games that have, how do you put it? Bad voice acting for one. It's not necessarily the voice acting was bad, but the writing in the dialogue started getting to me. Because every other freaking sentence was about Blastiacores. Hey, did you see the Blastiacores? Oh my gosh, we need to solve this puzzle with Blastiacores. Did you know that the entire town is powered with a Blastiacore? Wow! And that was like at least a good 30% of the dialogue.
That actually sounds like a Pokemon game whenever they introduce a new mechanic.
Yes, and it drives me bonkers. It's like, I don't care. I got it the first time. You don't need to have this one thing that I guess, it's like when somebody learns a new word and you try to use it in a sentence as many times as possible with random people. The problem is I'm the only person you're with for the last 30 hours and I'm tired of hearing this new word.
Or like a 13-year-old who just started cursing.
Yes. And so that was the big part of it. I was not enjoying the story, but also the town was very, any town you would go to, the game felt dead. It didn't feel like it had a life of its own. And Tales of Symphonia had that sort of magic to it, that literal epicness where it was telling a story of a place or a people in a certain time frame that is separate from our own world. This game just did not have that to me. And I know everybody was like, oh man, but it's one of the best ones ever. Why?
Why is this?
Why is it the best ever? Oh, there's a plucky little pirate girl.
Okay.
So, she's kind of cool. But everybody else sucks. And the main character's design is boring as can be. So, every other character is okay. I kind of like the dude that's kind of a thug. But I was not having fun with this game. Can you tell?
Yeah.
And it's gone. It went to GameStop. Yeah, I was so annoyed by this game. Actually, I think I lost it.
You didn't care
I didn't look for it very hard.
You didn't care enough about the Blastiacores?
No, Rowdy. And I'm sure GameStop be like, I can give you exactly 3 Blastiacores for it.
Oh my god, that would have been so awesome.
I would have throat punched somebody on GameStop. It was the little kid is whenever it got really bad. So there's this little kid that's like your tank of the group, and he's like in armor and stuff.
Was his armor powered by Blastiacores?
I'm sure it was. And it's just that super annoying anime child voice.
Oh yeah.
And they constantly say the same things over in battle. I think they do. I don't know. I've tried to erase as much from my memory as I can. But I did not enjoy this game, and it just did not have any magical spark to it. I almost put down Ni no Kuni in my list because it turned into Pokemon by the end of it. Or by middle of it, honestly. But at least the story was good. It was cohesive. It felt like you're in another world. It did get a little dumb towards the middle of it and got a little too childish for me. But it had something to it. The art style was good. Tales of Vesperia is like a bunch of good concept art thrown on a very boring and plain looking game that I think only people that were OG Xbox fans really enjoyed because it was one of the few RPGs on that system at that time. I really think it's nostalgia and people looking through rose-colored glasses that enjoy this game.
Yeah, I can see that.
Somebody is so ticked off right now. They're typing on something oh god, I hate this guy.
It's true.
I told you I'm going to tick y'all off today. All right. We're at number 1, aren't we? No, you got... Yeah.
My number 1.
Oh, man. Speaking of ticking people off. Let's
hear
it. Number 1.
My number 1 is... I'm actually going to pronounce it right, too.
Are you
It's
now?
pronounced Sekiro.
Sekiro? I didn't know that.
Shadows Die Twice.
It's not called Sekiro?
Look, this game has won Game of the Year.
It did, didn't it, at the Game Awards?
At the Game Awards.
Wow.
I have seen many other websites talk about how this is their Game of the Year. I have seen many personalities that I watch talk about how Sekiro is their favorite game of the year.
Shadow Die Twice.
Now, I know you guys may have heard me talk about how I don't like Groundhog's Day mechanics. Something I explained a little earlier this year. I don't think it's actually a thing in video games, but the movie Groundhog's Day, to me, is one of the most annoying movies ever. Because you do the same thing over and over and over again. Bill Murray just keeps waking up on Groundhog's Day. Just over and over again. Just keeps living his life.
While we're ticking people off, do you think Bill Murray is overrated, yes or no?
No, not at all.
Okay, just checking.
I actually had
I didn't know if we were like going to go with the whole thing and just tick everybody off at the end of this episode or not.
I actually thought of a good idea
okay.
of a movie that involves Bill Murray and the Wu-Tang Clan, but that's not for this podcast.
All right then, Rowdy. Just keep going. I gotta compose myself after that thought process.
I like to call it Groundhog's Day mechanics, where something happens over and over again. That's why I didn't play the Outer Wilds.
Gotcha.
But when it comes to your Dark Souls, your Bloodborne type games, the Soulsborne games, I intentionally avoided those because of how hard they were. And it's just over and over. You just get killed, you start over. You get killed, start over. You learn from your mistakes, you start over. You have to learn the pattern. This person swings this time, and you block here, and then you do this. So when I heard about Sekiro,
Shadows Die Twice.
people talked about how amazing it was going to be and how different it was from the Soulsborne games, even though it was made by From Software, the people who did those. So I decided to give it a try. And I started playing it, and I had a whole lot of fun, like the first 3 hours of the game. It looks great, and controls great. It was very responsive. It was a quick-moving game. Your character had all these different gadgets at his disposal. It was really cool. You have like a fake arm that like you could put attachments on to like burn people and stuff like that. It's really cool, but I don't have time to learn the parry system and having to block at certain times or jump at certain times. And I understand that's what a lot of people like about this game. That is not me. I became so frustrated at this game. I kept dying and dying and dying and dying over and over again. My shadow died like 100 times. Not twice.
Ask, did you die twice?
Not twice. Like 100 and twice.
Twice to what power? To the 100th power.
Yes. Oh my God. Ugh. Ugh.
All right.
Hated it.
Oh man, but it was pretty, wasn't it?
Oh, it looked great, man.
Yeah.
Looked absolutely amazing.
All right, Rowdy.
But I hated it.
Okay.
What's your number one, Travis?
One that nobody's gonna agree with me.
I don't agree with you.
I know you don't, but that's because I'm weird. All right, my lamest game of the year. Mario Maker 2.
Man, you're dumb.
All right, so this actually should have been one of my favorite games of the year. I like making things. I actually enjoy making themed levels in Mario Maker 1. I like making like quote unquote zombie levels where you'd have to like find the safe house and stuff, right? But the switch from the Wii U to the Switch didn't go so well in my opinion. They went from using like a really easy to use system with the stylus to some clunky setup where you're like, you gotta press ZR or X and it rotates things or it changes things. You gotta hold your foot at a 35-degree angle on a Tuesday after, a full moon and, stuff like that. It just got too much for me. As somebody that is what you would call a right-brained person, a creative person, it was really geared towards people that I consider more left-brain, more engineering-minded, or even musically minded, where you have all this organization stuff and memorization, where I just wanted to, just kind of go in there and just let my creativity flow and boop, 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 make things. And there were so many little things that kept me in this box. And when I say box, I also mean like literally you had to be zoomed in at all times and you couldn't zoom out and look at the bigger or holistic picture. I'm not talking about like, whenever I say holistic, I'm not talking like, hey, you want these pills? They're ground up goat.
Stop.
Yeah, you can buy these and they'll make you feel good. No, that's not what I'm saying. Holistic thought processes are like big picture thought processes.
Yeah.
Except of course you'd be in a tiny little screen, and I couldn't look at anything at the big picture and work at the same time.
So that was the biggest advantage that the Wii U had was the fact that like you had your screen in front of you. You had, you had the gamepad that you could play with. Then you could look up at your TV. So a lot of people that I had seen that really enjoyed Super Mario Maker 1, their biggest gripe about this one is having to play it in handheld mode because they wanted to do hands-on and move it like with their finger on the screen and stuff like that. But then you couldn't look up at your TV to see a bigger picture.
Yeah.
You had to actually take it, put it in the dock.
Right, and that was a whole nother step that was a pain.
Yeah.
And it forced me from having to go, from working, just making it and going, and there was a nice, like, openness about it, and it flowed really well to, okay, I got to pre-plan it.
It interrupts your creativity.
Yeah, I gotta map it out first, then I gotta go to the Switch to try it. I gotta go blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. I didn't care for it. That was the big thing, and it wasn't a bad game. Don't get me wrong; it is not a bad game. Their implementation of the user interface made it no longer a game to me. It was like I was playing around on a dumbed down interface in Adobe, Photoshop, or Illustrator with my meaty fingers or buttons instead of like click, 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 move around, drag it over here, yada, yada, yada. Or I could have gone the route and paid $30 for a freaking activated stylus, but then it really isn't even made for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've never heard of an activated stylus.
So
for the Switch. So, I mean, I know what they are.
All right, so we're okay. Nerd alert. Okay, so the Switch is different than the Wii U, right? Yeah. So the Wii U is more of like a pressure built thing where it senses the pressure. The Switch is a capacitive stylus or a capacitive system, so it senses the electrons as they fly across the screen, and when your finger gets in the way, it notices, oh, that's not, there's something in the way. And so it tells like on an XY axis where stuff is. Okay. So nerd stuff, right? Well, the problem is they use these stupid little nubby like styluses for capacitive screens. Unless you buy an activated stylus, which is powered, and it disrupts the signal a little bit more pinpointed, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
So people that were like really into Mario Maker were going out and spending all this extra money because that's really the only way you'd want to play it.
Yeah.
And it got really annoying for me. Now, this is from somebody that wanted to make things and not necessarily have to relearn a whole new system and stuff like that. So, for somebody like Mr. Rowdy 5000 over here who plays the levels.
I love the levels. Like that's I've never made a level in Mario Maker 2. I just played like the storyline. I really liked it, and I've been playing just stuff I find online. Like people I follow on Twitter who are putting up their level codes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's basically all I did.
And here's another thing that drove me crazy and why it was lame. The community aspect fell apart immediately. They didn't have online play, and whenever they did, it sucked.
Did you know there's a secret language in Mario Maker 2?
Really?
Yes. There's a secret language. So if you go into a level, you have to look for symbols in the level. It'll tell you how to beat the levels by these different symbols that are in the background. I watched a whole 15-minute video explaining the language in this game.
Whoa.
It's one that people of all different nationalities can speak.
I'm so confused, and I think this is a conspiracy. And we have like foil on our heads right now. I don't know what the heck he's talking about, guys. All right. So I think that is it. That was our lamest games of the year.
Yup.
So let's go and wrap this episode up with our honorable mentions from the Lamer Gamers communities. First up is...
I'm reading this one.
Rowdy's going to read this.
Oh, man. Drufus. Me and you are best buds now. Drufus says, lamest is Sekiro. Button masher the game. It's boring. I agree.
I love how he writes it. It's just, All right. Next up is Mr. Fried Shoes, fellow community manager at GW. Worst is Mario Kart Tour. I'm going to say it counts as a game and thus can count as my worst. It has some interesting ideas that can be fun in an actual Mario Kart game, but it's not fun to play. And it's their most predatory game to date.
Yup.
Which is a shame since Nintendo has been okay with avoiding that until this year. Dragalia, have you played Dragalia Lost?
No.
Okay, well, I know he plays it a lot. It's still the most fair and enjoyable gacha I've ever played. You know what a gacha game is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Basically, they get you money. But Animal Crossing introduced loot boxes, and MK has $60 Diddy Kong DLC. Just has zero charm. Bad, disappointing. 4 out of 10.
Man,
Winky face.
I would have said lower than 4, man. It's bad. It's super predatory.
So next one is John the Nerd, Parallax Lamest, even though I'm hopeful for an overhaul, is Anthem.
Look, man, I really wanted to play Anthem. I really wanted it to be good. I like BioWare, and even though everybody said Mass Effect Andromeda was an awful game, I loved it.
I like Mass Effect Andromeda.
Now, I also didn't play it till about 2 months after it was out, and they had fixed a lot of the bugs.
Oh, yeah, the animations were like turned up to ridiculous.
But, dude, I thought it was a great game. And then Anthem, I wanted it to be good, but, I mean, they've almost abandoned this game.
All right. Okay, you want to get the next one?
All right, Super Faker Bros says, lamest. Well, haven't really played anything I consider bad this year outside of phone games, which I don't really count.
Agreed.
Guess it'd be Super Mario Maker 2. It's a good game, but I'm not the most into 2D platformers, and I have a hard time convincing my friends to give local multiplayer a shot. But it's still a good game, though.
Thank you, Super Faker, for agreeing with me. I have one person that agrees with me.
One person ever.
That's it. It's just me and Super Faker Brothers. All right. Last one is Sora Invoked 1. Also, I think from Parallax. Oh, yeah, from Parallax. Duh. Sin Slayers. It's a roguelike, which was cheesy, unbalanced, and really overall just bad. My review of the game is on parallaxmedia.1 if you want to check it out. So, that is going to be our greatest and lamest games of 2019. Next year, it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to try to do weekly updates of some sort, whether it's podcast or the YouTubes.
Yeah, we're going to try to do more YouTube.
More YouTubes.
That seems to be where you can get the biggest following.
Yeah, so we're working on getting some more people. Y'all make sure that you are sharing this if you like it, because Google absolutely hates our faces. And stopped sending us people a couple months ago.
Since we started talking bad about Google Stadia, it's the only ads I get on YouTube.
Oh, I know, man. And Stadia, let's go ahead and do an honorary lamest console launch of 2019 is the Google Stadia.
Man, I don't even want to talk about it.
I don't either. It's a bad launch. It's probably one of the worst launches, and nobody wants to play, and it's just not that good.
I mean, Virtual Boy.
Hey, but at least Virtual Boy can still be played. Nobody's playing Stadia in a couple years. When have they dropped that like a rock?
Stadia and Virtual Boy have a few things in common for me. They both made me puke.
Nice.
One, because I actually played it. One, because they just talk about it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank y'all for listening. And make sure to check out our next episode, which is going to be the upcoming awesomeness, games, rumors, whatever you want to call it, of 2020.
Dude, it's going to be a good year.
It's going to be a good year. And we got the console wars kicking up.
I hope it's going to be a good year.
That might be terrible. It could be lame. It could be great. All right, guys. That's it for me. Rowdy, you got anything else?
No, man. That's it for me.
Have a good one.
Later, guys.